So Earth being lucky to have this much landmass on it, and you hear the story about Noah's Ark, yes? Well, how about a new phase and a new time? And I often hear the story about Noah's Ark, but I ask the question then, why would you want to stay on the Earth if Noah built an ark to save, all people two by two? But no. Moving on from that, never mind Noah's Ark, let's look at Noah's craft, the new phase two of the story. But not all of the animals go on two by two. I think that is that was capability at the time, right? So if you believe that Noah's Ark was true, then you would also understand that the capability of humans back then was limited. Yes? And even then, the floods would have pushed a lot to build an ark, yes? Or a boat, a ship, capable of even holding that many individuals and animals on it, yes? That was with the technology that they had back then. Come a long way since then. And two by two will not do. But what about houses that get invented? Because let's be honest, right? This is done, isn't it? Let's be realistic. The old way of doing houses, I think is slowly but surely should be coming to pass. That era of a chapter should be laid to rest. And a new one should begin. One that makes a house space ready. Yeah, it would then be waterproof then, wouldn't it? It would have to be airtight. And then Noah's craft can be begun to be built. Wait, beginning to be built? Either or. Past tense, pretense. Not sure where I want to sit with that. And then imagine space farms that, I don't know, litter the skies all the way around the Earth to make a halo of nothing more than modules that are capable of growing copious amounts of food. They just orbit around the planet, but they have a dual purpose. One is that they become craft ready, so that these can be interlocked together at any moment. Houses that become space ready, that can be lifted up in a moment's notice. Now that would be quite a challenge, wouldn't it, to be able to lift a house? What about houses that orbit around the outside of the Earth as well, along with farms? This is a new dawn, I guess, this is it. And that if any religious or spiritual or human vessel would have to lift all life forms off of the planet. And now they have to do God's work, which is what? Well, if you believe that God built the planet, made the universe, and so on, then truly the earth that God created then has served its purpose to get you to a point where you need to be in mind, in technology, and then it's time to begin to ascend. To the stars you go, because the earth is not movable. It is and it isn't. How to explain it? Corridors will need to be built. Houses will need to be built. Farms, space farms. Interesting. On the ground is where you learn how to do it in space. This is interesting, really. As the climates become more and more unstable, unpredictable, fraught with change and ravaging seas, and just not uniform enough for where you are at in your evolution. And it is definitely time to take the next step upwards. All of these things can be interlocked at a moment's notice, and if a meteorite comes hurtling by, well, your craft one vessel at a time connected to another, with capabilities of propulsion on each, could then all fire in unity to move out of the way. But they got to be self-sufficient. Can't be coming back to the Earth, and we can't lead a massive tether to it while moving away. And all humans, all animals, bacteria, as much as you can get, should be lifted. Colonizing other worlds is interesting, but it wastes time. I know a lot of people probably don't like to hear that. To go and colonize Mars only gives you a small snippet of time, and then a next moon or celestial body after that. And what's more, it's like a dandelion. A big one, and one that's not quite ripe. First you blow at it, and a few dandelion seeds float away, but it still leaves a lot on it. This is what will happen if you colonize other planets. Then you'll blow again, and a few more will come off, and only a few will be left, and then fizzle out. It spoon drips it. That's not where you want to be. You might as well start putting the eggs in a different basket. At the same time, sure, go down and sort of grab what you need, but don't stay too long on rocky bodies, just to charge you up with gravity and stuff like that. It'll probably be very interesting. And it gives you learning of what you'll do around other star systems. Wonderful, isn't it? So I think the old days, old ways are beginning to close in that chapter. And I think a new ways are beginning to open up. But if you go to Mars, colonize that, you're perhaps going to lose the Earth along the process. And then people on the Earth and animals on the Earth will start to dwindle. And then you'll have a little bit of time there, but then again, you'll meet the same process where you won't be able to get everybody up. It's very important to have everyone, and it sounds like it's oh no, this is not possible. It is possible. It is possible. Everybody has their place in this, and everybody must unite in this in order for that to even be achievable, but it must be achieved. More the merrier. There's plenty of space for all. There is enough resources to supply humans now, and times 2, 6, 8, 20, 1,000 more. How many more humans could you cater for in space with abundance of materials around? Planet hopping, you're wasting time. The sand hasn't all but run just yet, but a lot of it has passed. And in this time of the sand still running, and this is life continuing on the planet, playing this. These are no good. Houses are no good. They are just no good. They are riddled with infestation and all the rest of it. Mold. I mean, it's all very well to learn this stuff in order to know the road ahead, because infestation of bacteria are going to be probably the biggest things to contend with. Dogs, pets. There's a long way to go in this. What is not obvious is on my ship, these things will be taught. What you don't actually pay attention to is when you're walking down the high street and you walk into a shop, a church, a theatre, a cafe. How many bits of dog urine and shit that's half been cleaned up on the floor has now made its way underneath your feet? And then you walk through an area and you're now walking into a grocery store, and now you're contaminating it. And these buildings it's quite tough to clean these at the same time. It's like the longest bridge. Paint in one side of it, and when you get to the other, you need to go back and start again. And then it becomes even more of a system that happens. Cleanliness is going to be something that's going to need to be really looked at. And chemicals will play a massive role. Recycling water. If you've got a lot of chemicals and it builds up, you're going to get a lot of crystal, I believe. And this crystal and impurities inside this stuff. Well, would you ever learn from somebody else's mistakes? Or would you rather do it yourself and learn from your own mistakes? I think wisdom is not learning from your own mistakes. That's part of it, but it's also learning from other people's mistakes.